Welcome to Retro Spectrum, the podcast where mostly I pick bands with way too many albums and force other people to listen to all of them and then talk to me about it.
I am other people.
Yeah, I guess that's true. At least one other person. This week, we're digging into the extremely long, extremely awesome discography of Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I gotta say, this week I'm not even mad about it. This band is awesome.
I would have done another 17 albums after this
Me
one.
too, quite frankly.
Spoilers, I'm a huge fan now. I would love to see this band live. That's like they're a bucket list band at this point, and really I feel like kind of the clock is ticking, so I got to keep an eye on when they're going to be nearby.
Yeah, they're touring Europe right now, so we're gonna have to fly over to Spain real quick.
Well, it would be worth it, honestly. Just if that
Yeah.
was the only thing we did there, it would be worth it.
Let's go.
They had 17 albums in our listen through, spanning from 1979 all the way up through 2021. We watched a ton of documentaries and live footage.
Highly recommend the live concert footage. So sick.
And I would do it again, no questions asked.
Yep.
So enjoy our wide-ranging conversation over the surprisingly literary music of Iron Maiden. Bro, I don't know how this conversation is going to go.
Why?
I just don't really know. I don't have an angle.
Yeah, well, okay. At first, I was feeling the same way. I was like, a lot of what we talk about is how the albums and the band changes over time. And somehow this band remained insanely consistent, even with multiple different lead singers.
Yeah, and like multiple member changes and stuff.
What I usually do is I listen to all the albums before I do any research about the band usually. And so I kind of just like take in the music at face value first before I get like any backstory or anything. And so I didn't even fucking notice that the lead singers changed. There was a couple of times where I was like, this is a little bit different, but I just assumed it was normal band changes within the same unit. But I had no fucking idea until I did research after that they had like multiple lead singers.
It's like, oh, this band is awesome. And they just have been awesome for 40 years and have released pretty great albums every couple of years forever.
Not many bands can get away with changing lead singers like that and still
once,
remain
much less,
multiple
5 times or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the most consistent sound of any band that we've heard, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, again, surprising because it's I think one of the longest running acts of like releasing new music consistently.
But thankfully they didn't do what They Might Be Giants did to us, putting out a fucking new album like every year.
They did for the first decade, but that was not a consistent. I don't know. Maybe there is a through line for They Might Be Giants sound or whatever, but not like this.
Agreed. This has been definitely the most consistent the whole way through.
Well, you got what's up, man? How you been? What have you been up to? I feel like we both been to some shows.
Yeah, I went to see the Dresden Dolls. That was crazy because they haven't played together in like fucking 15 years or some shit. But I was in a kind of a weird headspace and I had taken a weed pill to like lessen my anxiety. So that was probably part of my chillness. It's almost like I didn't feel like I was full on dissociating, but I was kind of like just in a fog, like in a daze while I was watching them. And it could have been partially just like shock of what the fuck just is happening right now. Yeah, because then afterwards I was laying in bed at like 3 a.m. and I was like, holy fuck, what just happened? Like I watched from the side of the stage. So like it was like a totally different experience than if I had been, in the front. Because I went to the front for the last like 2 songs and it was just completely different because, they played to the front the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
And never looked my way the whole show. But it was sort of like a backstage view, like a side view, which I thought was kind of interesting and cool.
Where you get more like stage sound.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounded great. And luckily I didn't forget my fucking earplugs to the show. Now I just keep earplugs in my car and then I have to try to remember to put them in my pocket before I go into shows.
The Diamond Ballroom gives them to you for free.
They should at every show.
I got like $1 out because I figured whatever, there'll probably be $1 or whatever. And she was like, no. And I was like, just take the $1. Like you can
Here's
have
a
it.
tip. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, put it in the tip jar instead. So I went and saw Black Flag.
Oh yeah. So cool.
Honestly, it sounds cooler than I think the experience actually
You were
is.
underwhelmed.
No, I was perfectly
You were
whelmed.
whelmed.
It was almost exactly what I thought. It was too long. They played for like 2.5 hours,
Same with Dresden Dolls.
which is just too. They didn't have an opener or anything. It was just them, and it was a little bit too long, I
I
thought.
think I was similarly whelmed at the Dresden Dolls.
You got what you expected.
Sounds like we had a pretty similar experience.
Yeah.
I've seen Amanda Palmer like solo shows, and they are fucking mind blowing. I like the Amanda and Brian like dynamic, but it's just slightly less deep. They're still deep, but it's just a little bit more like play when it's the Dresden Dolls, and when it's her, it's serious art, which I is my preference, I guess, with her.
Greg Ginn is 1,000 years old. I texted you that picture of him. I
Yeah.
think he's the only original member still in the band. But man, he's 69, I
So are
think.
these Iron Maiden fuckers. I don't know how they're still touring.
I just got done watching Made in England, and it's like I can't imagine they have to be in incredible shape just from running
Yeah.
around for 2.5 hours every night, like jumping off of stuff. And yeah, so I think that might have something to do with it. But I'm curious what their live show is like now. I want to go see them
Me
live.
too.
If I had to pick maybe any of the bands that are still alive that are playing that we've done, I think Iron Maiden is probably top of the list.
Interesting. Yeah. I would think Patti Smith would be high on your list.
I think Iron Maiden would be a way better show than Patti Smith.
Patti Smith's show's really subdued, like chill as fuck. Iron Maiden would be like the opposite.
Yes, imagine the stage setup for a Patti Smith concert.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
But
and then the
Iron
stage
Maiden has,
setup
like,
for
epic-
Iron Maiden.
Like one of the shits that I watched, they had a goddamn huge robot.
Yeah,
Did you see that fucking thing?
there was the one after
amazing.
the space album where it was all like inflatable UFOs and stuff all over the stage. They've
Fun.
done. It's like this band is so cool. I'm so
Yeah, the
every
robot
time-
one, that it seemed like the background decor was like Egypt themed.
Yeah, so they had that one album, Power Slave.
That one of the million that we've listened to. All the art, all the album art.
I gotta
is
pull the
just so
list up
epic.
because there's too many. Okay, music, great, whatever. I want to dig into the albums. I want to talk about the album artwork. Did you see any of the like? Because all the singles and all this other stuff, all the live albums, they also have artwork. It's also well crafted and connected to each other, and they've done such an incredible job of like creating an image for themselves and like
Yes.
using it in different ways to do. Like I don't feel like they're repeating anything ever.
It's literally just shit they like.
Yes,
Like this
and
is
it
just
turns
the
out that
vibe.
yeah, that we're into similar stuff. Sci-fi, yeah, into it.
It's
100%.
very like historical shit,
Mhm.
but also like mystical shit. It's very like Game of Thrones energy, D&D energy. Like
Yeah.
so many of the albums, I was like, this is the perfect D&D background music.
I want to get a van and airbrush some
Fuck
shit on the side of
yes.
it so bad after listening to that. Like,
You gonna get your first tattoo now?
I finally get it. I'm gonna wear a cutoff jean jacket vest and airbrush.
Cut off jean shorts.
Yes, yes.
Have you seen
all
Spinal
cut off
Tap?
jeans, everything. Okay. Yes, I've seen Spinal Tap a million times, and Christopher Guest and Rob Reiner are like huge fans of all that stuff. Like it clicks with me now in a new way
Totally.
after watching all this Iron Maiden interviews
Totally,
where they're
dude.
like,
Because Flight 666, did you watch that one? It's like a rock documentary, like where they followed them on tour or whatever. And it was like the first tour where they had their private jet, their Iron Maiden jet, which is so fucking sick.
Ed Force One, you mean?
Yes, Flight 666. But yeah, the whole Flight 666 documentary was totally Spinal Tap. It was so good.
Like I knew that Spinal Tap was like making fun of 80s metal, you know, like, but I'm pretty sure Spinal Tap is specifically
Is Iron Maiden
mocking Iron Maiden. Yeah.
But what's funny is there's not much to mock. They're just like really cool, chill guys. Like I fucking
and
love
they're
them.
really good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff in Spinal Tap is they come up with, you know, like Stonehenge or whatever, and then
Yeah.
it drops down and it's like a foot tall. Iron Maiden would have the idea of doing Stonehenge,
But
and then
actually
they would
make
have
it
an
epic.
actual Stonehenge
Yeah.
there. Yes, and it would be amazing.
So good.
Because like the Power Slave one had like the pyramid background that opened, and then like the giant Eddie that came out with like his hands, like he was like a mummy or whatever, and his hands were like looming. Oh,
so fucking good.
so cool. And now it's to the point where it's like it would maybe be like too good now. You know what I mean? They've been doing it for so long, and it's like too professional, and like then it felt like something might go wrong, like they're still kind of figuring it out while
Well,
they're
it's
doing
funny
it.
that you say that because all the shit I was reading on Reddit of like the fans, like a lot of people were like, their shows are like the same every time. They're like perfect at it and like always have been is how they acted on the fucking Reddit. Who knows who these people are, but it seems like one guy said like, yeah, the most like exciting thing about an Iron Maiden show is like the set list order because that's the only surprise is what this guy said, this rando said on Reddit.
Nah,
And
I'm
I'm
not
like,
buying
yeah,
that.
these fucking robots. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Um,
It's all like themed the same because they do a huge, gigantic world tour after every single album, and all the stage setup like mirrors what the album artwork is and like what the concept of the album is. Like that's what the stage looks like. I think of them as like a business, like a band that is a business, except not in like a bad way. They just know what they want to do and they have a plan and they do that plan perfect. Even with swapping out members and stuff,
there wasn't like animosity and shit.
yeah, it was just like, hey, I'm not crazy about what we're doing right now. And they're like, all right, man,
See
you're
you
out of here.
later.
We'll get another guy
Yeah.
that does want to do
And then
this.
the
And then,
fucking guy came back after a few years or whatever. Like,
yeah,
so cool. Multiple people left and came back. And they
yeah.
were all still super respectful of each other the whole time.
And even talking about the early members or when they were trying to figure out who they were and what they were doing, and they had like a huge rotating cast before their first album was even released. Every time they talked about him, they were like, yeah, he's a good dude. It just
Yeah.
wasn't, he wanted to stay home with his girlfriend and we were going to go on tour and play shows every weekend. And so
I think they're all just super chill, nice guys. And like, I tried really hard to dig up dirt on any of them. Nada.
yeah, in one of the documentaries, it was like they drank a lot and like partied and stuff, but it didn't seem like it was in
like too
a
excessive or anything.
yeah, it would like not anything super crazy. It's like it just seems like they had a really good
Mhm.
time. And that everybody that was there had a great time also. And they kind of like, yeah, this one guy would get a little too drunk and do some crazy stuff, but it wasn't in a like, they weren't hurting anybody or anything. They were just being dumb and
Didn't find a single rape allegation on these
what a
guys.
perfect, hey, yeah, we get to do one without having to be like, yeah, but that one
Right?
guy that
No,
they had to
seriously, I
kick
tried to
out.
find some dirt, and the only thing it could find was like psycho Christians not understanding their lyrics and thinking they're satanic. Like,
Which their response to that was like,
yeah, exactly. Like, you
which is the
dumbasses.
perfect. They were like, that was
Yeah,
weird, and we
exactly.
thought it was funny, and
They
so
like
we
weren't even
made
mad
stuff
about
to
it.
like,
They got banned from like
no.
Chile or something, and they weren't even mad about it. They were just like, huh, what the fuck? That's weird.
And they talked about how it was like, it actually gave us a lot of really good press for
Exactly.
free because they didn't get played on the radio because they were too graphic. The fact that they blew up at all, incredible.
Well, they're extremely fucking talented.
That's just it, right? There's a story of the dude, Steve Harris, dropping off the first demo tape to like this guy that ran the metal club in London. And he was like, whatever, everybody wants me to listen to their albums. Like, what I'll get to it when I get to it. And then it cuts back to him and he's like, I put that cassette in and I was like, oh shit, what is this? Like, I was so rude to this guy.
That guy was a dick.
Yeah, yeah. But he like, even when he heard the music, he was like, it was that good that even he was like, oh, I should have been cooler because this is really good.
He was talking shit about he hated the like name heavy metal or whatever. But then when he was talking shit, he had a fucking shirt that said heavy metal on it. Also, his club is called like Bandwagon, and I'm just like, you just go with whatever's popular, don't you?
Also, they had heavy metal clubs, which just sounds like we need to do that. We need to be having clubs for like, do you like this thing? Everybody's getting together.
Well, that's how it was when we were younger. Like
Thursday.
we went to punk rock bars and stuff, you know?
I think the internet has ruined. I mean, okay, maybe not ruined. Maybe that's harsh. Maybe that's old man talking. But the internet has changed that in what I think is a aspect that's missing.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to be like, hey, come to this random place all at the same time, and we're going to listen to heavy metal albums and jump around.
Most people don't even fucking leave the house that much anymore. Kids these days are just on their phones. They're not going to the heavy metal clubs of yore.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm arguing the use of heavy metal is a cultural positive.
I fucking agree. And a lot of the people on the documentary said stuff like that. The messages are just like goofy, mystical shit. It's not like rape women or fucking murder people or whatever. Like the lyrical content isn't offensive for the most part.
surprisingly intellectual and
Yeah.
inoffensive. Some of the Charlotte the Harlot stuff is a little like, I
Yeah.
don't know that you would be writing that song now. But this is another example of a band that has so many references that it's like, dude, I don't want to do a playlist for Iron Maiden. I want to do like a reading list.
Yeah.
Like, here's all the books that they referenced. Here's all the old epic poems, here's all these like battles and stuff of like all these historical events.
Well, that's something they have in common with They Might Be Giants.
Yeah, that it's like a literary
And
exercise.
Chumbawamba. And Patty. Musicians are deep.
And Tina. Maybe not Tina.
No, not so much Tina.
Yeah, so Iron Maiden is
Fucking
awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
like, and when you were like,
so cool.
You might be mad at my choice, I liked them already. I wasn't overly familiar with them. I only knew like a few of their songs, but the songs that I knew, I really, really liked. I don't know what my introduction to Iron Maiden was or anything, but I just remember knowing about them in general because it's kind of like Gwar, like because of the imagery, they just kind of, as soon as I heard of them, they stuck in my mind. Like I knew a few of their songs and liked a few of their songs or whatever, but that's all I knew. And then this one time I went to a cover show at this punk bar in Oakland on Halloween, and I was going to see a Misfits cover band. And funny enough, they were the worst band there. I mean, not that it's hard to fucking play Misfits songs. It should have been easy for them to pull this off, but they were all so fucking wasted that they just kept fucking up. I'm like, give me the fucking bass. Like, I can do
that
this.
That kind of bleeds into being a Misfits cover band, though.
But it's funny because I went to see them and it turned out they were like the fucking headliner, and all the bands after were way better. One of them being a Beastie Boys cover band, all female, called the Sheastie Boys, which was one of the coolest, probably the coolest cover band I've ever seen. But also the headliners was an Iron Maiden cover band, and they were so fucking incredible. They sounded exactly like them. It blew my fucking mind. I was losing my shit at this Iron Maiden cover band, and that's not even who I went there to see. It was awesome.
That sounds
awesome. It was close to like seeing the real band, kind of.
But like, what a fun cover band. So like, that band is a harder band be a cover band of than is necessary. You could be a cover band for so many other artists. It's like, hey,
but you could tell like by looking at the guys in the band that they were like the D&D nerd types who were just sitting at home fucking learning those hard ass guitar parts. They were going to town. I was impressed.
Clearly, I know the like mega huge songs. I know Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills and like stuff that was really, really huge, but they are part of the heavy metal wallpaper that I know like exists, but I don't really know anything about because I never really got into it.
Yeah, I've never really been like a huge metalhead. Like I went to Ozfest. That was one of the first shows I ever went to.
Dude, listening to this, I was like, I should be a metalhead. Like it's probably good that I didn't listen to these guys growing up because I may have been way too into it,
and like closed off a bunch of other shit.
Yeah, or just like, I may actually have that airbrushed van and stuff that I want to have now. That may have been a phase that I could have gone through.
That's great.
Because every time a song came on, I was just like, yes. Yeah. Like, and I kept expecting like when a new album would start to be like, all right, this is going to be the one where they do like a rap rock album or something that's like not going to be good.
Or like all ballads.
Yes. Yeah. Or something like that. But it was never bad. There's some stuff that I think is not as good as other stuff, but none of it. I never got to the point where I was like, man, I don't really want to listen to another one. It was always kind of like, I wonder what this one's going to be like.
I will say, because there were so many albums and because they were so consistent, I was sick of listening to it at a certain point because I'm just not a metalhead. And like, you kind of have to be in a certain mood to listen to hard shit like that. Like a few of the albums I kind of played in the background and didn't focus as much on as I did some of the other ones.
Oh, I definitely. With 17 albums, it was just pretty much playing. I've listened to it in the car, like 2 or 3 songs at a time. And
it's hard sometimes when there are so many albums. And also I'm like the kind of asshole that wants to read every book, watch every fucking documentary, like, and that's going above and beyond. But
that's the biggest thing to me is just getting the like idea of what the songs are and which album is what. And like, are the good ones really the best ones? Are there some hidden gems in there or whatever? Or like, what's the flow of everything? And I do feel like even if I don't know all the backstory and secrets and everything like that, like I do have a pretty good idea of what I think their best albums are, what I think the like different eras are, and knowing who the different singers are and the different guitar players and stuff like that to me, even if I'm not sitting down and reading every lyric, because you would have to spend thousands of hours with this band
so
to understand
much.
every.
Because like for a while I was like, are they like super into Satan or what? And then I started reading the lyrics or whatever, and then I was like, are they super into Jesus? Like what the fuck's going on here? And the drummer is into Jesus.
Yeah.
which was weird because he was like the coolest and most like funny and boisterous guy on the one of the docs I watched. And I was like, I guess it kind of checks out. Like preachers are kind of like that, but
He seems kind of like he has a screw loose more than the rest of them. The
maybe
rest
that's
of
why I
them seem
liked him.
like pretty on the level, and he
He
seems
seemed
like
super fun to
okay.
me.
It seemed fun, but also like
Yeah.
you want to know where this guy is at all times. All right, so do we want to go back to like the roots of Iron Maiden, where they
Ours
came
or
from?
theirs.
Theirs. I don't have any. Like it's a loose interpretation of images and
Yeah.
some songs and
The
lines.
imagery is very memorable. I was just listening to the what's his name's audiobook, Bruce.
Oh, he has a book.
Yeah, and it's so fucking good. I love this guy. And he wasn't even the first guy.
Did you listen to any of his solo stuff?
No, I didn't. Did you?
I did not. It like it's one of those things I just didn't get to. That's like I want to because like when he left in the '90s or whatever, he left so he could do. He did a solo album while he was still in the band, I think, and then I think when he left, he went and did more.
From one of the documentaries that I watched, it seemed like it wasn't metal, his solo stuff. It was kind of weird. And it wasn't really doing it for even Bruce himself, which is one of the reasons he went back to Iron Maiden. He was like, I want to do metal again. And so he did like one metal song with the old guitar player from Iron Maiden that wasn't in the band anymore. And then he was like, we got to do more of this. So then they both went back to the band. So then the band had 3 guitar players after that.
That's the best. They should have 5
They're
guitar
at
players.
their ultimate.
They should have 100 guitar players.
It wouldn't surprise me. They're the type of band that would have like a full orchestra, you know,
Of guitar players, no other instruments, just a whole orchestra of guitars. I would be so into that.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say like something about his voice. It reminded me of multiple other singers' voices. I feel like there's a voice that I'm missing that I'll probably remember later that was like, oh, that band. But yeah, I like wrote down a bunch of bands that they kind of remind me of. His voice is a lot like the guy from Journey.
His voice
It's
is
operatic as fuck.
Incredible. He has such an incredible voice, which made me feel really bad for the guy that followed him in the 90s.
Well, and then that he replaced.
Right. Yeah. Because like
because he couldn't cut it.
He's not a bad singer necessarily.
Right. I agree.
Not...
He pulled it off. I thought like I could barely tell, but apparently, according to one of the documentaries, on the road with all the shows, like his voice would just get too fucking tired.
Yeah. And that was not his register. Like Dickinson seems like opera way up super high and all over the place. And I think he had a lot lower register. And so trying to push yourself to sing stuff you're not really built to sing, I'm sure was not good for his voice.
Right.
So they kind of like, they're out of East London, which like, if I'm being honest, didn't even know they were a British band.
I didn't either.
Didn't have any idea. I also didn't know there was a thing called the new wave of British heavy metal, which is like that whole Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden and like all those British, all the bands, Samson and stuff that like Bruce Dickinson and all those other bands that they were in at the same time. It's like its own genre of heavy metal music. And they influenced the like Metallica's and Megadeth, the American heavy metal bands. But like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, both British and both the like pinnacle heavy metal bands. The only guy that's been there through the whole thing is Steve Harris, the bass player.
That's pretty crazy. He's the one that put together the band, though. I'm pretty sure, right?
He put the band together, and I think he is the reason the band is as successful as they are. He knew what he wanted to do, and if you weren't on board with him like making the next great band, you weren't in the band anymore. And he didn't seem like a jerk about it. He just seemed like, if you're not in this 110% and you can't cut it, you're out. In a pretty business-like attitude.
He seemed really sweet. Like even in one of the docs, there was a part that said like firing this guy from the band was like one of the most upsetting things I've ever had to do.
But it's crazy because that's how they talk about it. They talk about like firing and hiring members of the band rather than like
they
somebody quitting
or
they broke up. Yeah, it's like, no, the band always existed.
Well, and these members coming in know that and it seems like that is an important part of it too, that they just have like a mutual respect for these people as musicians that are incredible, obviously. And it's not like you're coming into the band and trying to make it yours or something like a lot of fucking egomaniac musicians would do. Like none of these guys did that. They were all polite and really respectful of each other.
There was a clip where Bruce Dickinson is talking about after he joined the band, Steve used to like to run up and be playing bass like on the front of the stage and being like in center stage or whatever. And so he took his monitors on stage, set them in the center of the stage, Steve Harris moved him back over to the side so he could move. So he moved him back to the center of the stage. And then when he was up there singing, noticed that like the bass player would like come up behind him and be in like, you know, messing with him while he was singing and trying to be on the center stage. So that's when he said he got his mic stand and put extra long feet on the bottom of it so he could hold it out behind him and like fend off the bass player to like, so he could have the center stage. So like, I do think there was a little bit of like,
interesting. I didn't see any of that. That's funny.
Where is the spotlight going sort of thing.
Well, there's so many of them.
And they're also good that like
Yeah.
you could watch any one of them for a whole show and be entertained.
Yeah.
So he put the band together and there was like a rotating cast. There were like 3 vocalists before the first album even came out. I don't know that they recorded anything. So there were like some photos of them. And first album has a dude, Paul, as the first lead singer. And he looks like a punk rocker. Like he looks like somebody out of the Sex Pistols. And I was amazed. Those first 2 albums, like those 2 are his only 2 that he's on. And I think they're pretty thematically similar. But from the first album, it sounds like what I would consider like latter day, like pop punk stuff. Like I think the Descendants have a huge Iron Maiden influence that I never recognized.
Well, from one of the docs that I watched, it seemed like they came from punk roots.
Steve Harris said he hated punk rock. So,
well, a bunch of them were talking about how like they were in punk clubs all the time and shit like that. So,
well, I think part of that is because punk blew up in 77 or whatever, and you had the Sex Pistols and the Clash and all that stuff. And so I think there were a lot of punk clubs.
And all of that was in fucking England, shit happening there too. So,
but I think they were like, we are a rock and roll band.
Punks and metalheads kind of go hand in hand to me. We have a bunch of punk and metalhead friends that are one or the other or both.
I think metal is much more concerned with being good at music and writing good songs and being good musicians.
Yes, yes.
And I think the punk rockers are much more about destruction and deconstructing the idea of what music even is.
Which is probably part of why I kind of gravitate towards that.
So those first 2, I think were only, I know the first one they only recorded as a 4-piece. And I think the second one, Killers, they did too. But it already had like a lot of the, you know, literary references and stuff like that I think became who they were. Like I think a lot of that was already built in. After their first album, they toured with Kiss as the support act, as the opening act for Kiss, and like toured around Europe.
I noticed some of the kids at their shows had Kiss patches on like their jackets and shit. And I love Kiss too. So
what a crazy show. But that's like, that kind of, I think, tells you where they got some of the like, oh, this is what a live show should be. Yeah, the like fire and
Kiss shows are fucking wild. The spectacle is so fun. There's so much fire and blood and just craziness. They like fly over the audience on a fucking trapeze type of thing. Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite shows that I've been to. I love Kiss. So, but yeah, the spectacle of the whole thing is very Kiss, like with the robots and all the shit. The first album, I was like, this is very metal 80s. It gets kind of Led Zeppelin jammy in points. And it was definitely like I wrote down that it was pretty punk at the end. And then the second album, my note for that is just, I fucking love this band.
Yeah, I know. It's like I was already in so hard just on the first couple of albums. Okay, so we talked about what we're doing listening to this. Most of what I've been doing, I bought a Need for Speed game, and so I turned off all the music on that game, and I've just been listening to Iron Maiden and racing cars, and I feel like an 8-year-old, and I've been having so much fun doing it because it like is just like like it is a perfect match.
That's great.
I've had a great time with this band so far. I'm kind of sad to be moving on from them, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I wasn't even mad at like the 11-minute songs and shit.
No, I drove to Tulsa yesterday when that 18-minute song was playing, and it was like, hey, the song's
the 18-minute one, I was like, okay.
I've got 18 minutes to kill.
I felt like that one was too long, although I was not driving, so maybe driving it would have been better. But I was like, is this the decline or what? Like, at least NoFX had the decency to make that the only song on the album.
They did release that one as a record store day.
Oh, they did? Nice.
Yeah, like a release.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool. Because like the first CD I ever picked out for myself was The Decline. So like that kind of thing is really up my alley for some reason.
A song with movements.
Yeah, which is also kind of operatic, you know?
Yes, I think especially with the stage design and like when they start getting into a little bit more of the like concept stuff, it is like, oh, this is kind of like
like that Celtic shit on the last one.
A little operatic. So the first album has the first introduction of Eddie, and they got the dude that did most of their albums up through the 80s had designed it. He did make the album cover for a punk rock band that it didn't end up getting used, and so they just tweaked it to make it. I think they like made him put more hair on Eddie. He probably had a mohawk
More
or
metal.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they made him a little more metal, a little less punk rock.
Yeah. Did you get a load of Bruce's haircut? Like when he had the long blonde with the bangs, I was like, Spinal Tap, dude. He looks exactly like that fucking
No,
guy.
in Spinal Tap when he has the like Lancelot bangs that are straight across the top, and then it's
Exactly.
just
That's what Bruce
that like
had.
that was Bruce Dickinson's haircut. Like
Exactly.
that character had the exact same hair as Bruce Dickinson. For the second one, like Eddie again on the cover, I really just want to talk about the album artwork because it's all so cool.
This shit was epic.
So it's Killers, and it's got Eddie, and the dude's like got pulling his hand on his shirt, and he's holding the like bloody axe. One of the singles that they released before Killers had Eddie, like the guy running away from him, and Eddie like at the end of an alleyway, but he was in like darkness, like it was just a silhouette. And so like the album cover release was like the reveal that, you know, Eddie was the killer.
Nice.
It's also thematically similar and tied together. But that dude, the first lead singer, ended up leaving the band. He couldn't maintain the tour schedule. Basically, he wasn't into it anymore. He was also, I think, doing a bunch of drugs and drinking a lot. And so, like, for his health and for the health of the band, they let him go. And then just like Bruce Dickinson was already singing with another band, Samson, and they pretty much just asked him to be in Iron Maiden, and he said yes. You know, like everything just feels like it worked like the way that it should have. So for the next like 1, 2, 3, I mean, Bruce was all through the 80s, but the next one, The Number of the Beast, I think the self-titled and I think this one are the two, like, if you only listen to 2 Iron Maiden albums, I think those are the 2 that are like mandatory listening.
I really liked Fear of the Dark. I think I liked Power Slave too. Yeah, the Power Slave I really liked. The 4th one I thought was the perfect D&D soundtrack. Peace of Mind. Power Slave was the 5th one. The 6th one I didn't like quite as much. Somewhere in Time. I think that might have been one of my least favorites anyway. The 7th one I thought was very metal jammy, kind of Tenacious D vibes. So which record did the Blaze guy come in?
The X Factor and Virtual 11.
I did not take notes on Virtual 11. I think I was driving on 11 and 12.
It's the worst one.
10, I kind of was digging the creepy chanting. That was the album where I was like, is this band like super into Satan or what? That's when I started doing the research on that, because this album had like spooky horror movie almost kind of like energy about it, which I think they're all kind of into horror movies too, which is another probably reason that I'm drawn to this band. I thought that the 9th album was kind of sing-songy.
That's Fear of the Dark.
Oh, okay, maybe that's not the one that I liked more.
It helps because a lot of their albums have the number of the album in the title of the album.
Yeah. I thought the 9th one was kind of sing-songy and kind of sounded like a voice actor kind of acting like some kind of goblin or something at different points. Like it was a little bit cheesy sometimes, but there were some songs on it that I really liked. So anyway, what were you saying? You were saying like the first 3 are your favorites?
Honestly, I don't know which one I would say. There's too many to say favorites, but I think the first one and I think Number of the Beast, I think those are the most important ones. I mean, both great albums. I could easily say either of those are my favorite, but I kind of like all of it. But I think those are the ones that it's like, if you only listen to 2 Iron Maiden songs, it should be those 2.
Yeah.
Number of the Beast is the one that got him in a bunch of trouble with the evangelicals in America.
Which is just like so dumb. You would think it would interest them, you know what I mean? Like if they actually read any of the fucking lyrics or listened to it, they would realize that it's closer to being fucking Christian than it is to being satanic.
I do think though that like you invite a little bit of it when you put devil on your cover.
Sure, but like a lot of their art has the Eddie guy like killing the devil or whatever. Like one of the albums, he's like holding the devil's severed head, I'm pretty sure.
But like even that, like the violent imagery, I get it. I don't think
the fucking Bible is like the most violent ass shit ever, though. So it's like all this shit's right up you guys' alley. I don't know why you're fucking mad at it. It doesn't make any sense. They just look at the surface level shit and then don't go do any investigation. And that's the problem with most people, is they just get a vibe from a thing and leave it at that. And it's like, just fucking do just a little bit more research and you'll feel a totally different way.
It was one of those things where they boycotted it by like smashing the albums.
And it's like, you still bought it, you idiots.
Yeah, I always think that's so funny. It's like, yeah,
fucking idiots.
Yeah, you should go buy another one and smash that one too, so
exactly.
somebody else can't buy it.
The album cover of 11 looked like Pennywise to me.
That album cover, that one and the Dance of Death are unhinged. They're
Dude, the Dance of
insane.
Death one, I fucking wrote notes on that album cover too. I was like, this is cool. This is quite zany. It's very 2003.
It's horrible. It's one of the most, for a band that had been established for like 30 years at this point, on their 13th album, it is embarrassingly bad.
I thought that album was giving Journey too. Like it was very sing-songy and I don't know. It just sounded more like what's the word? Like mainstream maybe? Like some of their albums and some of their songs were a little bit more like normal 80s hair shit poppy, you know.
The one where Bruce comes back, Brave New World, I was like very glad to have him back. Like I didn't really care for the two Blaze albums. I thought those were their two worst albums. I thought those were the only two like truly weak entries into their discography. Like, you know, Bruce Dickinson's voice is like really high and up here and they play really fast and all that stuff. It sounds like they just took songs recorded with Bruce and like slowed the tape down because the instrument sounded slower. The guy sings in a deeper register. Like it just all felt slow. Like it just felt like Iron Maiden, but kind of slowed themselves down a little bit. And I didn't really care for that guy's voice. I don't know. I'm glad he didn't stick around.
I thought all the singers did a good job at sounding similar to each other though.
I don't see. I think Blaze has a way different register than Bruce did.
That's what a lot of the people on documentaries were saying.
His was more like meatloaf, like thicker, you know, and like a little lower register and like a little meatier.
Also, this Dance of Death album came out like a few years after Eyes Wide Shut. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
And so this album cover is Eyes Wide Shut all over to me.
Dude, do you remember the show on Cartoon Network Reboot with like the green people and the blue people?
Yeah, because it's like fucking computer shit. Yeah.
Those look like little reboot characters.
Definitely.
But okay, let's dig into this thing. There is a baby, like the Ally McBeal baby.
That's what I'm saying. This is so 2003. Like it's all computer animated, goofy looking humans or whatever.
No, this is a little Ally McBeal baby.
I see the baby. I know fucking what you're talking about. I was obsessed with Ally McBeal.
Wearing a red bikini, standing on top of a wolf that is howling. And that's just one tiny.
And the baby's wearing a masquerade mask. Like everyone's wearing a mask except for what I'm presuming is Eddie in the center, but also is dressed like Grim
Yes,
Reaper.
Eddie, aka the Grim Reaper.
And he has like naked bitches like hugging him.
Yeah, except they're just computer animated, loosely computer animated, like the idea of people. They look like little Barbie dolls.
Yeah, they put one chick with some pasties.
There's one that's doing the handstand right next to it with her like armpit is like inverted. There's the other little baby in the front.
I like the little baby goblin.
Like none of them are spatially placed.
Yeah.
Like it connects to the other one. Like that baby is just like pasted on top of the other guy.
Yeah, this is literally just like the shitty computer animation from the fucking late 90s, early 2000s.
It looks like a joke. Like it looks like you took it. I don't know. It's horrible.
I wrote that down, dude. I also noticed
the baby standing on top of the wolf that's howling, because he's not really on top of the wolf. He's like just standing.
He's like sort of on the side of it. It's like when something glitches out, so it's like halfway to the side, like when The Sims. It kind of looks like The Sims.
But they're all making direct eye contact. Like it's unpleasant to look at.
Yeah. And you know how they're moving. Like they're not moving obviously because it's an image, but they move like The Sims. You know what I mean?
Okay, did you see the original album cover?
This isn't it.
It's just Eddie as the Grim Reaper standing in the center of the floor with his hand out, and there's like 4 or 5 shrouded like monks behind him. It looks cool. It looks like spooky.
I see the monks in the back of this one. Oh, yeah, that art is way different.
Yeah, with just him standing. Yes, that's cool. Like, that's a total.
And then here's one with just one person, this creep to the side. Oh my God.
Yeah, like they should have stuck with the original. Somebody said that they thought it was like too empty or whatever. And so they got some guy off of their forum, off of their website to add all the models to it.
Oh, That's hilarious.
And then they
That
submitted
explains
it before, like, it's unfinished. Like, so it has the original guy's artwork. And then this dude from the internet pasted a bunch of stuff on it without being done. And that's what got turned in.
Ridiculous.
It's so not cool. From a band
That's
that has
fucking
some of the
hilarious.
coolest artwork and like coolest album covers. That one is
Fucking zany.
hilariously.
Yep.
It's just so bad. The other one, Virtual 9, with the one where he's like Pennywise or whatever,
Yeah, that one
or
I
Virtual
thought was
11.
kind of gross and creepy.
So looking at that one, it's got Eddie coming through the like virtual reality thing and the little guy crouched on the corner with his headset on.
Yeah, I like that.
In the bottom left corner is a soccer
Like a dead
field.
body or something?
No, it's a soccer field.
But do you see the dead body in the bottom right?
The like in the mist or whatever, like in the
It's
orange.
like in the under the water.
Oh no.
There's
See.
dead body under the water. There's
Oh,
multiple.
okay. Yeah. I do see that now. Sorry, I'm just now pulling up the high res.
There's a lot going on in this one. Like there's flamey guys to the side as well. Like it looks like hell, I guess.
Eddie's head's being split open.
It's weird because they talk about Eddie being like fighting the devil and stuff, but he definitely looks demonic and scary. This album cover specifically makes it seem like he's a bad guy from hell trying to get you.
I don't think he's supposed to be a good guy. I think he is a bad guy.
I read, or maybe on one of the docs or something, that the fucking guys from Iron Maiden were saying that he's fights the devil.
Right. But I also think that like he is a scary, spooky bad guy. At one concert, they killed him. They pulled his brains out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's funny because this album cover has his head split open.
Right.
Funny that you say that because this was one of the things that I thought was like one of the coolest things ever. When Bruce decided to leave the band, they did this whole thing on stage at his last show where they put him in an Iron Maiden, they decapitated him, and then he was like flayed out on the stage like on a sword, and like a guy was holding his head or whatever. Like it was fucking sick. Like they murdered him on stage.
That's awesome.
It was so fucking cool. And then, you know, he came back or whatever a few years later, but
Yeah.
I just thought that was such an epic way to like leave the band, like so fucking theatrical.
But that one, Virtual 11, it has all that crazy stuff in it. The bottom left-hand corner is a soccer field
I see that now.
just next to the kid playing virtual reality, which was an addition later because they played
Cute.
a bunch of Iron Maiden songs at the World Cup, which was happening that year. So they're like, put some soccer stuff in there too.
Soccer fans fucking love Iron Maiden, and especially in other countries, they always shout ole 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 ole, but they shout ole 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 ole, Maiden,
Yeah.
Maiden.
Yeah.
That's like a chant at soccer games, but also a chant at Iron Maiden shows now.
Dude, other countries love Iron Maiden. Every time they release an album, it goes to #1 in like 30 different countries.
Yeah.
But it's because they did world tours after every album for 30 years straight. They would go to South America and go to,
Well, yeah, and depending on where you are and what your life's like, certain things just hit different too.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of the Spanish speaking countries are super fucking into Iron Maiden. And it also seemed like Mumbai was fucking crazy into it.
They played behind the Iron Curtain. They were like the first metal band to go play in what was the USSR. They went to like Poland, and
they were also the first to be played at the Vatican. The first like metal or rock band to be played at the Vatican.
That's so cool. Of all bands.
I know. It's perfect. It's great because Chile banned them, like the Catholic whatever banned them from Chile and then eventually let them come.
But yeah, all through the 80s. So only the first 2 albums I think of theirs were they supporting acts on tour. After Number of the Beast, they started headlining, and like from then on, they were the main act, like almost everywhere they went.
They seem like they should always be.
Yeah, how could you possibly want to follow them? They're so tight and so talented.
Even the fucking cover band. At first I was like, what? I thought that Misfits were headlining. No, it was Iron Maiden, and I'm so glad because it made so much more sense. They were way better, and the songs are just super long and epic too. Like it's just an ender type of a band. Like you wouldn't even have time to do that as an opener, I feel like.
So I think Peace of Mind is the first album that had their like 80s lineup on it. Their like 80s 5-piece with Nico on the drums.
I really liked him, and he's a really good drummer too.
I think they had that same lineup for like 5 different albums or 6. I don't know. It's really hard to keep track of. The guitar players came and left.
There was a lot of switcheroos.
But I think it was 83, 84, 85, 88, and 89. I think those all had the same band in it. I think they had a new guitar player for Fear of the Dark. Oh no, it was No Prayer for the Dying. That's when Adrian Smith, the second guitar player, left, and they got their other replacement second guitar player, the one who worked with Bruce Dickinson on his solo albums. That was for the 1989 album. And then Bruce did 2 more albums with them. And then, yeah, that Blaze guy popped in for the 90s. The X Factor album artwork is like that claymation one where Eddie's being lobotomized. You know the one I'm talking about, where he's like stapled to the thing and
Yes,
they're
I
cutting the
like
top of his head off.
claymation. Claymation is far superior to that computer shit from the
Yes.
early 2000s, especially for this specific thing. Like claymation is perfect for this because it can get real drippy and lumpy and weird. Like it's perfect for this type of vibe.
Yeah, like you can see like his hair
Yeah,
is
this shit looks
on his
sick.
shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was so sick looking that they had to come up with like a second album cover to put in stores. They wouldn't let that album cover be visible in
People need to
retail stores,
fucking grow
which I
up,
think
dude.
is so funny
Grow the
because
fuck
it's like
up.
it's a cartoon.
Literally, it's fucking clay. Chill out.
And I think the one before that, Fear of the Dark, was the first one that used a different artist for their album art. The one where
Yeah.
he's like the tree person.
Yeah. I like that album. He looks like a little tree goblin.
Yeah, Eddie just he's got a bunch of interesting looks.
Okay, see, one of the notable album covers to me. What do you think of the Matter of Life and Death one?
Oh, the tank one?
Yeah. This was another one that I did not like, kind of like the computer one.
I was just looking up that one today. It was drawn by a guy who does Punisher comics.
That makes sense.
They basically told him what they wanted or whatever, and then he did it in their style. I thought that was a weird album, and recognizing it came out in 2006, because that was like really the Iraq war height. And I feel like there's a lot of like war and I don't know, military type stuff that I didn't really.
Yes. And I don't connect to that. And so I pretty much napped through that album. Like I kept spacing out. I was so bored by it. And it felt extra Jesus-y to me too.
That one after Dance of Death, which I wasn't crazy about, like it was fine. And then that one, I was like, all right, these last 3 are going to be kind of tough. But I thought the last 3 kind of ripped. I thought, like, I'm glad they went back to space for the Final Frontier. I love the sci-fi artwork. Like, I like that they're back. You know, it's a Star Trek reference. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I like that they were back in kind of a campy vibe and not so much of a. The other one didn't feel preachy necessarily. It just felt topical in a way that Iron Maiden doesn't. Like, I feel like they deal with
History
themes of like life and death and history and
yeah.
like big
Not so much
ideas.
right very now. I think they do connect history to current, especially when they talk about like the press or capitalism or whatever.
Yeah, but not in such an explicit way that I thought Matter of Life and Death. It was a little too blunt for what I think I actually expect from Maiden.
Yeah, and I like blunt, but this specific content, I was just not into that one. That could have been my least favorite one. I'm not sure.
By far my least favorite were the 2, really Virtual 11.
I didn't even take notes on 11. I think I was driving during that one. So
And then the last 2, Book of Souls, like I kind of group those 2 together. They feel like a lot more cohesive. Even
I
though there's
agree.
6 years between the albums, like they're the first ones where I thought Bruce Dickinson started to sound a little more his voice started to sound a little more aged.
Well, he fucking had throat cancer at one point.
Oh, well, that I'm sure
With a
affected
voice like that. It makes me wonder if singing like that could potentially be an aid in cancer or whatever growths back there, like the stimulation. I don't know. I was just curious. I haven't done any research on that, but finding out that he had throat cancer just made me think there's so many musicians that get throat issues.
Yeah.
And so it seems like it has to be connected.
Well, I'm gonna. There's probably some lifestyle choices that are probably rolled in there also.
In his book that I was reading earlier, it did say that he never smoked ever.
Oh yeah.
But apparently his parents heavily smoked for a certain period of his childhood. So he said he probably smoked a certain amount of packs a day through his parents.
I can't imagine him being able to sing like that, having smoked cigarettes.
No shit.
All.
I mean, a little bit of smoking kind of adds a little growliness to it, which is good. Kind of like a Lemmy vibe.
Kind of, but that's not really his thing.
I feel like there's a splash of growl. Maybe it wasn't him as much as one of the other guys that I'm remembering, you know?
Yeah, the Blaze guy was pretty growly.
There were a lot of voices, though, that I was like, he's reminding me of so many things, like kind of Dio, kind of Zeppelin, kind of Journey, kind of like Queenstrike, Sabbath, AC/DC, Lemmy, lots of vibes going on there.
I was supremely impressed with his vocal ability, just his range and clarity to be able to hit a lot of that stuff without screaming. It would be a really hard act to follow. It took a lot of guts for anybody to even say like, yeah, sure, I'll give that a shot. And it's crazy that after he left, they just kept right on trucking. They've released an album every year up through like 1989.
And they were touring like crazy.
Yeah, 160, 170, 180 shows, like 30
At one point,
countries.
multiple of them caught some kind of sickness and they were like shitting and puking and still got on stage. It said they had buckets to shit and puke in on the side of the stage. I was like, God damn, that's hard work, dude. I'd be having to wear a fucking diaper because literally at that show, like it showed footage of that show and they're like sprinting from one side to the other, like doing all these crazy moves. It's like, I would have shit my pants if I would have been in that state. Poor guys. That's hardcore. And their manager was like, yeah, you better be able to do this. Like he like in a joking way, but
Everybody seems so disciplined and like focused that even the manager saying, yeah, go out there and do it, like, haha, it's a joke. It's not really a joke. Go out there and do it. They also thought, yeah, we need to go out there and do it.
yeah, I don't think he would have pressured them heavily if they hadn't already wanted to do it.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't like they were being manipulated or controlled
Yeah.
or anything like that. I think the label would work them as hard as they would let themselves be worked. And I think they would let themselves be worked really hard because that's what they wanted to do.
Right.
But it didn't feel like exploitation like it does with like it did with like the Spice Girls or whatever.
Right. Well, and they broke away from their exploiters.
They worked with the same manager, they worked with the same producer for years and years and years. And then even after he retired, they started working with another guy and worked with him for all their albums. Like they were very consistent.
Well, that's the kind of vibe I like. Loyalty and
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's so cool. It's so nice when you find out that a bunch of men in a band aren't all pieces of shit. What a surprise. What a pleasant surprise.
They did talk about like they argued and stuff on the road, but they were like, yeah, we spent a lot of time together and you have to argue about stuff or you don't care.
Everyone would do that. Yeah.
You're either going to argue about it or you're not going to care about it. And we'd rather have arguments that show that we care about what we're doing rather than just, yeah, sure,
Like
fine,
apathy.
whatever.
Yeah. Well, that was part of why like one of them got fired at one point because one guy like wasn't giving it his all at like
Yes.
certain shows. Like it was like if it was at Paris, he would go really hard, but then in Nice, he would not give a fuck, like shit like that.
There's a clip in that documentary that they put out where Bruce Dickinson, so the drummer and the bass player are in like this argument backstage because the bass player's rig went out and he told the tech to go tell the drummer like, hey, keep playing the solo a little bit longer. My rig is out. Like we got to get it back up and running before I can jump back in. So just like keep it going a little bit.
Vamp
So
in the middle of it.
yeah. So the guy at the tech goes to tell the drummer who's in the middle of his solo and is like, I can't stop what
No
I'm doing. I
shit.
can't hear what you're saying. And so he like whatever didn't hear the thing. It was
You should
like
have written on a notepad, keep going.
and like a very minor kerfluffle, but then in the back he's like, "Don't ever interrupt me in my solo again." Like all this stuff, like that's messed up.
God.
I'm a professional. I'm trying to do all my stuff, and the bass player is like, "I was just trying to like, you need to chill out," you know. So they're having this back and forth. Well, Bruce Dickinson finds a tape recorder and turns it on and starts recording it, and so they're going back and forth at each other and like yelling and cussing each other out and stuff. And then it kind of dies down, and so Bruce is like, "Well, what if like a lighting rig is gonna fall on your head? Like, do you want us to like tell you if you're like about to die or something?" And he's like,
Right.
blah, 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 like, I guess you'll just have to carry me out of, you know, like all the, and it just like is going over and over and over. And then at the end, it's like, hey, somebody's recording this. And then the tape clicks off. Like they were like, right immediately after that, we realized this was absurd. And like we were cracking up. And they put that recording of their fight as a B-side on one of their singles that they put out, which
That's
just like
hilarious.
so funny. And so, I don't know. They just seem like really
Good time, guys.
they seem like really likable nerds. And
Yeah.
I'm sure they were difficult at points, you know what I mean? And I'm sure they were too much at points, but they weren't like, there didn't seem to be a lot of stories of them like wrecking hotel rooms or treating people poorly, or even the like drinking and drugs just felt like a reasonable amount of drinking and drugs
Right.
in an 80s metal band.
I feel like we need to give awards like at the end of the season to each like band,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this band would get like the Miss Congeniality or whatever. Like
The decentest dudes.
yeah, literally.
But dude, every album basically has either a live album or a live video that goes along with it that like documented the tour.
Yeah, did you listen to any of the live albums?
I watched Made in England I listened to a little bit of the first one.
Which also I love a play on words. So Made in
Oh
England is
my
just
God.
fucking
They're
hilarious.
all, so many of them are plays on
Yeah,
words.
it's hilarious.
There's the one song, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, they're full of puns and full of references, man. Like Ray Bradbury and Isaac Asimov references as your song titles. It's like, yeah, I'm your guy. You are but I didn't listen to a lot of the live ones just because there are so many. But there's 17 albums, and just on Tidal there's 10 live albums and 3 greatest hits compilations. I think almost every studio track has been officially released as a live track somewhere else along the line, just because they play so many shows. And
So I was talking to my dad today and asking him if he liked Iron Maiden
yeah,
because he loves metal. Oddly, he loves like 80s specifically. Usually it's like hair metal, so it's like a little cheesier, poppier than this. So I was asking him if he liked them, and he said that he never like he immediately disliked them only because of the Run to the Hills music video. It's actually just clips from a live show mixed in with clips from a silent film called The Uncovered Wagon, which is a parody silent film of a silent film called The Covered Wagon. And it's a fight between like colonizers and natives. And the natives are on like little bicycles and shit, shooting arrows from bicycles. Like it's just kind of goofy and weird because it's a fucking parody silent film. Like silent films were already kind of like goofy and weird, like the
right.
way they moved and shit. So anyway, dad immediately, as soon as he saw that music video, was like, fuck Iron Maiden because like of we're native, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, it felt like they were making fun of us. And my dad is not the type of person who can hear the lyrics. So like he wasn't even understanding the song or anything.
Well, and I think British people can be insensitive to Native American imagery.
They are the colonizers.
Yeah. Well, just because it's removed, you know.
To me, I feel like this song is like a fucking native anthem.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it like has the first half is from the native side and the second half is from the colonizer point of view. But to me, the whole song overall has a message of like, this is fucked up and they're on our side, you know? Like, even though they are they are the colonizers, they are the fucking British, but they still understood that it's not cool. I felt like a lot of their messages aligned with what I think. I like the fact that they question things. But anyway, since I explained to my dad about it, he actually really likes them now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you finally like got to finally get into them.
So on Music League, one of the last categories that I just finished was one about guitar solos. It was like songs with really sick guitar solos.
Yeah.
And dad was like, yeah, actually, I've been listening to Iron Maiden a lot on this playlist on Spotify that's like a playlist of really good guitar solos. And I'm like, yeah, Iron Maiden is like all fucking guitar solos.
Yeah.
There's one in like every song.
Yes.
And some of them are like 7-minute long solos. Yeah. Which I love. I love that shit. I love a jam. I love a solo if it's good.
And they do such a good job of like rotating who does it. Like there's not a lead guitar player necessarily. It's just
I love that shit,
whoever
dude.
wants to take it now, and like this guy will do a little bit, and then this guy will do a little bit, and then this guy will do a little bit.
Well, that's what happens when you have a band filled with extremely talented musicians. It's like you can just bounce around doing solos and just like jam for fucking ever because they're all just really good at it.
It feels like they are writing in service to the song rather than I'm the guy, like I'm the one who solos on all this stuff.
Exactly. That's the vibe of the whole thing. Is it's a collective, not a show off type of vibe. Is the vibe I get from them.
And Steve Harris is an incredible bass player, and the drummer is awesome. Like everybody is so good.
A few of those bass lines made me want to fucking pull out my bass, dude. I want to learn some of these songs really fucking bad now.
Well, that like triplet, that like driving, that's him. Like that's him. He developed that style. Like we talked about Larry Graham doing the slap bass for Sly when he was playing bass for Sly, and like Steve Harris did the like triplet driving bass.
Well, yeah, this band inspired countless bands.
Yeah.
Like Metallica basically exists because of this band.
Which I think they will admit.
Yeah, they say it all the time.
Yeah.
Metallica says that they exist because of Iron Maiden and AC/DC, which is funny because I hate the fucking Ulrich guy, obviously, because he's a piece of shit. But I do like Metallica, so.
Well, dude, but okay, so one of the biggest problems that I have with like the idea of metal is it's so misogynistic and so broy. You think about hair metal and like imagine a hair metal music video, and they're just gross, you know, they're just gross dudes.
I fucking agree.
Or you think about the like tough guy, like Metallica metal or whatever, and that's like aggressive in a way that is also off-putting to me.
I feel like the vibe of Iron Maiden is not like that at all, though.
No, it's not like either one of those. And the music is better. And they just like, I don't know.
They're the superior option.
I was like afraid that this was going to get into like bro territory, especially a little bit of the stuff for the first couple albums is kind of broy. But man, no, it's awesome. It's all great. And you don't have to feel bad about listening to it.
Right. I agree. Like I did notice in some of the documentaries, like the one with the asshole with the, the bandwagon club or whatever, there were a few kids that they interviewed in those documentaries that were misogynist pricks, obviously. Like one of the kids was talking about how like there aren't any girls at the shows because girls just can't fucking handle it, that kind of shit. And it's like, no, we're not there because you guys are assholes.
Yeah,
like,
because you're there.
Yeah, exactly. If you weren't fucking up the vibe, we would be there. Like,
yeah. But it didn't feel intentionally exclusive.
No, and I feel like just because some of the fans are idiots, it doesn't have anything to do with the fucking band. Like,
right.
They're not giving out that vibe. And I would say most of Iron Maiden fans seemed super chill. Like there was literally so many men crying at the shows in the documentaries, like just crying because they were seeing Iron Maiden.
I get it, man. I get it.
Me too.
So they get labeled as being, satanic or whatever. Like, I think that,
which is so funny.
I do think that kind of follows them through their career. I think they get asked about it, probably still even to this day. And, I'm sure they have said no in 10,000 different ways to 10,000 different people. But do you think that there is like a through line or a message or a viewpoint of the band?
Kind of my thought about that is that they just like learning and investigating things and asking questions and kind of just exploring ideas. It seems to me like they don't have a very specific like pro Satan, pro God, whatever message. Although if we're going to lean any direction, it would be more pro God to me, the lyrically.
I think that they, in that vein, are like a spiritual, the type of person that says like, I'm not religious or I'm spiritual. I'm not.
Yes, exactly. Like mystical vibes, which is cool because they're just open. To me, their overall vibe and message is like, ask questions, explore, like, we don't fucking know everything. So let's think about it and talk about it and sing about it.
Yeah. I kind of look at them as like a sci-fi band in
They're
the sense
a D&D
of like
band, hardcore.
Wouldn't it be cool if, or like, here's this interesting thought experiment, let's dive into it, or like, here's a weird idea about, but like, to me, I think that they deal with such huge concepts. I don't think, the one album, The Seventh Son of a Seventh Son or whatever, was written as like a concept album. I don't think the rest of them are intentionally done that way, but I do think that each album deals with like unanswerable questions in a way that is, I think
that's their whole thing,
thought provoking.
Yes, exactly.
Rather than preachy. I don't feel like they are the type of artists that like, here is the answer, but it's like, hey, isn't this a question we should be asking? Like, I feel like it's a lot more in that vein.
I totally fucking agree. And
they're way smarter than I anticipated them being.
Bruce is a fucking incredible human. He was the pilot of their fucking Air Force Ed Force One or whatever. How
so cool.
insane is that?
So cool.
And apparently he knows how to do like so many different things. And that was one of the reasons that he quit for a little bit, because he just wanted to do some other stuff for a little bit. And I heavily relate to that vibe. Like I love a multifaceted human that likes a bunch of shit and likes to learn and shit. And he's way that vibe, which is so fucking cool. And I was like, in his autobiography, he like went to boarding schools, a few different boarding schools, like Catholic ones, I think, for a while. So there was like religion things happening, but then there was a bunch of other things happening where he had like all these different interests and was constantly like exploring and wanting to try this and try that. And now I've done this and now I've done that. And that's kind of my vibe going into the world. Like I want to learn and I want to explore. And so I just really thought his vibe was so fucking cool. And one of the things he said in the thing was his grandpa was a pilot, I think. So that probably is part of why he is also a pilot. Oh, he really was into Lord of the Rings. I haven't finished the book. I'm only like a third of the way through, but he's probably into D&D too. I can't wait till I get to the D&D chapter.
For sure. That to me feels like a who was feeding who relationship. Right. You know what I mean? Like they were probably into D&D. D&D probably took a ton of imagery and ideas from metal, which metal got ideas from D&D. You know what I mean? So I bet it was a symbiotic relationship.
Pretty fun stuff though.
Yeah, great.
Fucking
great
love
stuff.
Iron Maiden.
Very happy to have gone through that. And really, it was time consuming, but pretty much enjoyable the entire time.
Yeah.
There was never a point where I was like really, there were times where I didn't play it, because I think you're right. You do kind of have to be in a
It's just such
headspace.
a specific thing that it's like if you're not in the mood for that, like if you're in a chill mode, it's not super chill. Although, like I said, I did basically nap through one whole album, so
I would highly recommend every album from the 80s, their first two albums, and probably their last two. I think those are all worthwhile. The rest of them, if you like it, you'll like those. The 90s stuff, I think honestly, pretty much anything released in the 90s, I think you could skip and be okay. But that's only three albums. So it still leaves you with 14 to choose from.
yeah, and kind of like what we were saying about not being in the mood, sometimes it made me think of movie critics. It's kind of hard to be a critic because if you watch or listen to something that you're not right in the mood for right then, you're going to receive it completely fucking different than if you were in the mood for something like that. So it's kind of unfair to be a critic, frankly, because the way that you have to consume whatever it is to be able to be a critic is very, it's like homework, it's like a job. So it kind of,
Taint your perception.
yeah, it's just a different vibe when it's like an assignment versus when it's just something that like, oh, I'm interested in this right now, so I'm going to check it out. And obviously we're choosing bands that we're interested in and want to check out, but that doesn't mean that all 17 albums we're going to be in the mood for that over a week. Like it's a lot to cram into a certain amount of time. So I feel like a lot of it, I don't know if it gets like fully a fair shake and just depending on the mood.
It definitely doesn't. I think they're way denser than you're going to get one, but I think they're worth revisiting and going to get some extra
I agree.
information out of, or going back and like pulling out specific songs or.
It's interesting because like doing this because we're constantly doing it. And so like each time it's a different band. So it's like I finished Iron Maiden, but I still want to keep on with Iron Maiden, but I got to switch over to this other thing now. Like
That's what I felt about the last Tina. I think I was pretty well done with Tina by the time it was over,
I'm
but there have
fucking
been two or
not,
three.
dude. I've had What's Love Got to Do with it stuck in my head.
But as far as like going and finding new songs or like
Right.
revisiting songs or whatever, like that one
Yeah.
wasn't really one that I felt like. This one definitely.
Well, yeah, each one's going to be different based on our level of interest. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's just been a lot of bleed over for me. Like, I still have been reading about fucking Cat Power this whole time. Like, a lot of them I
figured it
can't
out
let
yet?
go of. No, I haven't.
Well, dude, when I go to the record store now, the only bands I look for are bands that we have
Yeah.
done. I can hardly even think of other stuff.
So I guess what I'm saying is it would be way more fun to actually just listen to this podcast than it would be to do what we're doing.
To be doing
Yes.
it.
Because then if you hear an episode and you're like, Iron Maiden sounds kind of cool, I'm going to check that out. It's you
can go do it at your own
into it.
pace.
Yes, exactly. And you could do it over like a fucking month and not like a week,
Can I tell you how they connect?
Oh, fuck yeah. I love this part.
So Iron Maiden and Tina Turner connect a million different ways because they're on the same label. Capital /EMI /Parlophone basically released all of Maiden's stuff.
Yeah, they got signed to EMI like fucking immediately.
Amazing.
Yeah. That never happens.
Well, and so EMI, they were on basically EMI the whole time. Their latter stuff got released on Parlophone, but that's because Warner Brothers bought EMI and Parlophone and then just like rotated them over.
I've never even heard of Parlophone.
It's European. Because I was like, oh, they're on a different label. I was like, maybe there's going to be like some label drama or they got kicked off or, their albums weren't selling well enough. Or
But
it was like, no, it was just
label
like
shit.
boring,
They just
like,
bought whatever.
backrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't have anything to do with them and didn't affect them. And they just kept doing what they were doing. So they connected on like almost every album. Almost every Maiden album connects to a Tina album. But interestingly, I
was hoping we'd get a Spice Girls connection.
Well, dang. Okay. Well, Iron Maiden connects with Tribe Called Quest because, again, record labels. No Prayer for the Dying and Fear of the Dark were released on Epic, and that was what Tribe's final album was released on. But yeah, Tina and Maiden, which I think is super funny that they were on the same, like they're label mates and
couldn't be more different.
Yeah, they're pretty different from.
I will say, Tina, there's some fucking wailing on guitar in some Tina songs.
And another similarity, they're extremely hard workers. I mean, talk about the amount of tours and the amount of shows and the like scale of the shows.
That's true. And you know what? I bet Iron Maiden guys fucking loved Thunderdome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because who wouldn't?
I bet they thought Thunderdome was like norm core, like it was like
Right.
too norm. It was for the. It was like post apocalyptic stuff for the
Yeah,
normies.
totally. It was.
They were into the real stuff. So I do think there's a lot more like Maiden history to go into. They also have a huge rabid fan base across the world where they play massive shows to millions of people every year. Their most recent album, which was released in 2001, was their highest charting US album, which for a band that's been doing it for 40 years and was huge in
Fucking
the 80s
crazy.
is
When does that
insane.
happen?
And so like I think their staying power is huge. I think they're extremely consistent. I think they will only release good music.
This is the most consistent band we've done, I feel like.
And I do think that they're due for a new album soon. It's been 3 years since the last one, and they haven't gone 6 years. Is the longest they've ever gone.
Well, and they're going on tour too. So we better go see them.
Definitely worth seeing live. I think we should definitely do that. Do you have any other Iron Maiden thoughts before we get into our next reveal?
They're one of the ultimate metal bands, like top 5, possibly top 3 of all time. Probably top 3. Possibly number 1. They're like fucking so good on so many different levels. Talent musically and shit. It's just mind blowing. And then like the content and just the vibe and the spectacle, everything about it is great. And I will say that metal is a lot about spectacle. So a lot of the bands are doing that kind of stuff, but there's just something very specific about Iron Maiden that I don't know that anyone has. Kind of like you were talking about, like the cohesive nature of like Eddie on everything. And I don't know, they just are very consistent in a great way. I fucking love them.
Oh, dude, we didn't talk about it. Did you find their video game Ed
Oh,
Hunter?
yeah. I think there were 2 video games that they ended up
There
doing.
were. The only one that I saw like a lot of video on was Ed Hunter. Did you ever play Chex Quest?
I don't think so.
It was the video game that came in a box of Chex Mix in the early
Fun.
2000s. It was like a Doom or Quake clone, but you were a piece of cereal.
I'm surprised I didn't because I love Chex.
This was very much like Chex Quest, but with
Well, did you ever play Commander Keen or like Wolf? Wolf, what was it called?
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. That kind of has metal vibes.
Yeah, it was like that, except it was Eddie and like Grim Reapers. And,
I mean, that sounds fucking sick.
yeah, it
I
looked
would have
awesome.
loved to play that.
Actually, they were like, it was pretty bad even then. Like, it was pretty dated.
But it's like a novelty, you know?
Yeah, it would be really fun to see if you can find a copy of it now, though. Okay, well, you have the next one lined up.
Yeah. So my choice for the next one, I'm going to go with Selena.
Oh, cool. That'll be how many?
A bitty bitty bum bum.
That'll be good. How many?
A bitty bitty bum bum. She has like 5 albums, but Selena y los Dinos, which was her with the band before she was solo, has 6 albums. Those 6 albums are not on Spotify. So I'm just going to listen to every single thing on Spotify because there are some compilations with some of the Selena y los Dinos songs on the compilation albums. So I'm just going to listen to everything I can find because I fucking love Selena.
Okay, cool. I'm into it. That'll be fun.
And it's different than anything we've done yet.
Yeah, we've been hitting the 80s and 90s really hard this time around.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that. I usually think about like genre and gender and like race are like the 3 factors that I usually am thinking of the most. I guess I should start considering year as well.
Well, I think doing Tina and Iron Maiden back to back, that was like a lot of 80s.
Yeah.
But no, I think Selena's going to be fun. For Wheel of Death, here's what I think I'm going to do. I think as a response to this one, the one we're going to do next for Wheel of Death is going to be Motley Crue.
Interesting.
Because I feel like they have a lot of the similar metal vibes, but I know that I don't like their vibe and I find them gross and skeezy.
Okay.
And so I think this is like the dark side of the coin.
Okay. Interesting.
You know what I mean? We're talking about how like Maiden they're not problematic. I think Motley Crue is almost exclusively problematic.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to do Selena.
Yeah, that's going to be a walk in the park after 17 Iron Maiden.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I kind of wanted to go as a little break.
But dude, this one was the first one in a while that was just fun, that didn't have a lot of baggage attached to it.
Right, like there wasn't a depressing backstory or like all this arguing or like
needed to like handle it with a certain amount of respect.
Yeah.
Not that they don't
respect.
Yes. Not that they don't deserve respect, but it wasn't like I'm hoping we're not missing something huge. And everybody's
I know, right? But if we are, it wasn't because of effort trying to find it, because literally I Googled like Iron Maiden controversy, Iron Maiden Me Too, like Iron Maiden this, Iron Maiden that, you know, like trying to find some fucking dirt on these guys because I don't want to accidentally miss some detail like that. But yeah, as far as I could tell, like they're great.
Yeah, they rule. Iron Man rules. That's my takeaway.
Thanks for listening to Retrospectrum. Hit us up on socials at Retrospectrum Pod. And if you like what we do, be sure to leave a 5-star review on all podcasting platforms. And subscribe to our Patreon at Retrospectrum Pod. See you next time. Bye.